Hey, how's it going, guys? Chale's Legacies podcast. This is episode, I believe, five, because I was four and she's number five. Here we got a new person here, new speaker. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Priscilla Miranda Ayala.
Um, she brought a towel because I'm pretty sure this is gonna get really, really emotional. Like I said, guys, I've gotten good feedback. I got some LED lights coming in. I got the mics here, so let us know how everything. If there's any more feedback, let us know. Um, we're gonna get in depth here, talk about a little bit about my mom, and like I said, guys, I'm not doing this to get famous or get popular, or if it does, it does. It doesn't, it doesn't. I don't need to get paid for this. I'm doing it out of the will of my heart for memories. I wish I would have did my dad. My dad has stories for years, and we never really, I remember them, but they're starting to fade away. It's been 13 years. I don't want something to happen like this, and then I have my mom's memories because, you know, we didn't take time to do it like this. So, my mom's probably gonna have a continuation because she's got a big story to talk about, man. So, um, like I said, I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I hope this is entertaining to you guys. If not, like I'm gonna say it again, guys. If you do not find anything interesting in this, and you don't like any of this, just scroll. You don't need to hate. You don't need to make fun of nobody. There's nothing here for you to see if you don't like this stuff. This is my family. This is my way of doing memories. And like I said, I'm doing it for entertainment for us. For later on down the line, our kids, her grandbabies, kids can have something to look back and be like, hey, my grandma, and that's my dad, and all that, man. So I really hope y'all are enjoying this. Before we start, I know she wanted to say something, implying to, saying out of disrespect and all that. So let her take away, and I'm gonna ask her a couple of questions. Like I said, we're gonna do the continuation again of my mom. She's just getting her going because she's got a long story. She's been through a lot. So go ahead.
Okay, first of all, a lot of y'all know me if you're locals from Cotulla, and I'm going to take the time before we start this interview. Um, I am married again, so out of respect for my husband, whom I love very much, I want to apologize in advance if I disrespect or offend anybody in his family or him personally. Just want to take the time to say I'm sorry if I disrespect anybody or offend anybody, because this is my story and I'm a living testimony, and I want to share it with people that have been through my situation.
Yes. And like I said, guys, my mom's got a beautiful story. I've been with her my life, 35 years, and I remember seeing so much she went through. Yes, maybe your story can help somebody. Maybe you can encourage somebody. That's what we're here for, man. We're not here to, like I said, to get popular. Like, I can care less if we do, man. I mean, if it does, it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I hope somebody can use it. Like my mom said, she's got a beautiful story. She's a living testimony, and maybe one day somebody might be going through what we went through, and hey, look at her now. I mean,
There's
yes,
a big difference. There's a difference between being a victim of something and being a survivor. And I really believe that me and my boys are not victims. We're survivors. And that's the living testimony that we want to let people know. There's a big difference between being a victim and a survivor. And we are survivors. We survived something that a lot of people think they won't be able to survive. And that's really what I want to be able to tell people is my living testimony. And there is hope out there. There is hope.
mind you guys, and I'm not gonna get. This is her story, her spotlight. I'm just gonna ask her questions. I'm gonna let her. If I can feedback in it, I will. But she's been through it twice. I'll let her get into it. But you ready to start this interview?
I'm sure.
All right. Hope you guys enjoy. This is Priscilla Miranda Ayala's podcast interview. Here we go. First off, Priscilla, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, like I said, my name is Priscilla Miranda Ayala. I'm 51 years old. I work for Stockman's National Bank. This year will be my 14th year. I'm the mother of three handsome, wonderful young men, Carlitos, Isaiah, and Elijah, my baby. I am a grandmother to five grandbabies. I got DJ, Tristan, Cammy, baby Charlie, and my new one, baby Isaiah. And my grandson Broly. That's my dog, my blue heeler. And I'm married to a wonderful, hardworking man, Henry Gilbert Ayala from Cotulla.
Okay. Anything else you want to introduce yourself with?
No.
Okay. All right. Second question we're gonna go with is, give me a little bit brief of your childhood background here in Cotulla, Texas. I remember you were into modeling, singing. Go ahead and speak on what you grew up with. And give me a little, get in depth a little bit of what.
Well, my father and my mother are very well known here in Cochula. My father is Cuco Garcia. He is the father. He was the son of the only. What do you call the? He was a zapatero, fix boots and stuff. And my grandmother was Dorotea. She was a seamstress. She would sew things, make quilts, stuff like that. So everybody knew my dad. And then of course my mom's side of the family are the Boteas, the Ramirezes, and a shout out to all my family. My dad was a singer. He would parrandear and play guitar, and um, my mom was always working. So a way to be around my dad, I would always try to be around him when he would parrandear. Just like you guys get together and watch boxing fights. Well, my dad was not into boxing fights and stuff, but my dad was into getting together, killing the pig that they raised for I don't know how many years, and they would kill him and then make chicharrones and get together with our brother or his brothers, his sisters, play the guitar. And I used to look at my dad and say, "Wow, I want to join in." So one day, my dad was playing at my grandma's, and I joined in. You hear it so often that
Yeah.
I got into the song, and then of course, um, I love to sing. And then I went to high school. Ms. Daughtry was my teacher. She had
Shout out to Miss Daughtry. She's my teacher too.
she nominated a certain group of people, students, to fashion clothes for, I believe it was Dillard's and J.C. Penney's, and she came up to me and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was kind of hesitant, but I was already seeing your father, so it was kind of like, if they only knew I was pregnant. So I was like, so I did fashion clothes, and I gave up that career because I was pregnant with this one already. I just didn't want to tell anybody, so I gave up my career and waiting to see what was going to happen. So yes, I did fashion, and I sang with my dad at anywhere we could have a chance to sing.
That's beautiful, mom. What about the singing?
My singing was my dad was my inspiration. My parents lived a pretty rough life. Watching my parents grow up, they're always fighting, and my dad left my mom. We left up north. It was like the only thing I wanted to do was, he was my motivation. I wanted to make him proud of me because I was the only girl. I mean, I was the girl, but he wanted a boy, and to I wanted to be as close as I could be to the boy that he wanted. So everything he would do, I would try to do. And he was the only person that really motivated me to sing. And when my father passed away, it's like that dream just went out the door. I didn't have that feeling anymore. It's hard. You don't feel it anymore, so you kind of give up on that dream. But it was hard, and my mom wasn't always there to push me because she always had to work. My mom was a single parent trying to support us, so mom would go to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and
What was
come
she
home.
working?
My mom worked at the country store for 30-something years. 30-something years. So when my dad passed away, we kind of stayed taking care of my grandma and me, my mom, and I had a lot of pressure because I was the oldest, so it was expected of me to help. So mom would go to work at 2, didn't get home till 10. So in between, after school, and I had
Pretty much had to raise
we
it,
had
right?
commodity
Yeah.
hamburger meat and stuff in the sink, and I remember walking in, and I would just say, what am I gonna make my brother and my sister to eat? And I remember my brother would always say, like, carne picada otra vez, because commodity would give you hamburger meat. So that's pretty much what I would make. I would try to figure out. So I was pretty much a mom at a.
Before going for any further, I don't mean to cut you off. What is your siblings? What do you have?
I have my sister Annabelle. She's my next, right under me. I have my brother Jesse Garcia, and I have my baby sister, which is Urena Jimenez Garza now. But I have another half sister. I found out a couple of years after I grew up and got married and everything. My dad had another daughter, and looking at her, she looks exactly like my family, like my brother and my dad, and her name is Wendy, and she's from Pearson. Shout out, Wendy.
I remember seeing her. Yes, she
Yeah.
does. She does.
And
It's
I love
crazy.
my siblings. I love my brothers and my sisters. We're all different though. Like I said, I left the house when I was 15 years old, and it's kind of hard to grow together because we didn't grow up together. So it was kind of like I went my separate ways.
So you pretty much became the I guess the mother figure in the Annabelle. You say your sister Anna and Jesse,
Yeah,
correct?
those two
Because
I had
your
to.
mom would go to work, and that's just the tough times that we had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
that's
learned a lot. I learned a lot from my grandma,
how old were
actually.
you? How old were you when all that was
I
being
was in
placed?
between 12. My dad passed when I was 11, which is weird because it's the age that my youngest son,
Yeah.
Elijah, was when he
His
lost
dad.
his father.
Yes.
I never in my life thought that that would happen to me twice. But anyways, I was 11 years old, and it was my grandmother Dorotea was. It's weird because both my grandmothers are Doroteas, my dad's mom and my mom's mom. But I grew up with my mom's mom, and she was real old school. I mean, you have to be able to cook, clean, wash. We had no automatic washing machines back then. You had to wash with the ones that you would stick the clothes in, and then right back here we had a um, what is it, to hang the
Hang the
clothes, a
little
laundry thing
yarn
to
thing.
hang the clothes, and
Yeah.
mom would leave to work and say, hey, take it off and put it up before I get home. And I miss my mom. My mom would get home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I was already in bed because we had to go to school the next day. It was hard, but I was being raised by my grandma, so it's pretty much that's when I got the role of, hey, this is what it is to be like a mom figure.
Yeah, man, and the old school life, living the old school life.
Yeah, very old school.
And that's what I remember. Growing up with you, mom, as my mom had an earache. You put the newspaper and all
That
that.
all comes from my
Hey,
grandma.
man, so it worked.
It's
So
all come
hey,
from my
hey,
grandma.
it's embracing. Are you done with that subject, mom?
Yes.
Okay. If you ever feel like you need to talk more or there's something else, let me
Yeah,
know.
there's more of that,
Okay.
but throughout the.
Well, we got you. Well, like I don't know if you might want to be a little more specific in it, but it's up to you if you want to. You might have already pointed out, but what got you into all that modeling and singing? Like you said, your dad was a singer, correct?
My dad was.
How far, and how big did you get? How much did it go?
It didn't go too far. I did get to sing with several artists. Selena Quintanilla
I remember that.
came to the Crazy Horse, and I was already seeing your father. I got to sing with her. They had a contest. Whoever wanted to come up and sing with her would get her first CD album. Back then, the CDs were all popular because back
Yeah.
then we only had 8-track tapes.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if it was some 8-track, some cassettes, and then some were CDs. But I remember that I went up there. A lot of people were pressuring me, go, go, go. That's the thing. I used to sing at weddings. They used to invite us to go to weddings or quinceañeras, and everybody be like, Cuco's daughter's here. Get her up there to sing. It's embarrassing because my whole there's always one in the family that had to make you go up there and sing,
Yeah,
and you were
yeah.
like, hide from them because you don't
Yeah.
want to do it. But I got to sing for Noelia and Ruben's wedding.
Shout
They would
out
just
Noelia.
they would just call you randomly. The family would pick you out and say, hey, she's here, get her up there and sing. And that's about as far as I went. I got to sing with Selena. I got to sing with Laura Canales, Roberto Pulido. That I know of, I think those are it. And I got to have a lot of people that have passed away here in Coachula that played the guitar. Joe Campos, Fidel del Toro. All these people are people that would play the guitar while I was singing. Like if we had to sing at church or at an event, they would always include me in there. My mom would dress me up in whatever outfit it was. Cinco de Mayo, I was dressed in red, white, and blue, and I mean red, white, and green, and it was just. My goal was to one day when I saw Selena up there was one day to be up there with her, but around that time I was really into your dad, and he was my first love, and you know I put all that on the
We'll
side.
get into that right now. Is there anything else you want to talk about on that? I got this is an odd question. I'm just gonna ask you. It's not even here. Like, how come I didn't pick up any of your singing talents? I mean, you and
Actually, all three of y'all have a little bit of singing talents, but
Oh.
I honestly, there's a saying: if you don't know how to sing, sing louder.
my dad.
Let
Yeah.
everybody hear you. I've heard all of y'all sing.
Yeah.
It's like dancing. Everybody says I don't know how to dance, but then I see you guys dancing, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of learning how to do it.
I just remember you and Dad both could sing, and I
You
was
see, he
so,
never sang, and
but-
he comes from a family that sings. But
Yeah.
when I married him,
he-
we would both start singing together, and that's what we found out.
I
we
was just
both had
telling my
voice.
wife dinner. I was like, "How in the world is my mom and my dad both great singers? I mean, you're an amazing singer. I remember my whole high school career, or even in middle school, I was like, Mom, take it, let's go, like let's go, get us out of here. And you were like, no, you were unselfish because you're like, I'm not gonna because if I do something like that, I'm gonna take time away from you guys. And
Well, I got to talk to some of the artists like Laura Canales, Roberto Pulido.
I remember
They say it's a career that you got to take with you.
Selena's brother. What's his name? AB.
AB.
Yes, yes, AB. You want to talk about that or?
No.
AB, if you watching this, I know the story, man.
I was young and skinny and everything
Yeah,
back then.
it's all good, man. Look what you could have had. But yes, I remember you had a lot of talent, mom, and like I said, I wish you would have followed your dreams, but like I said, you.
No.
But then,
Once I knew was pregnant with you, my whole life changed. It was all about you. Well, I didn't know I was gonna have a boy,
boy,
but
yeah. Well, I got about maybe 6 or 7 more questions for you, mom. I'm not trying to take too much time. Hey, Tris, if my battery thing comes out, make sure you press OK, please, because it's kind of getting low. But it'll be all right. Okay, next question is, how did you meet my dad?
um, I've asked myself that. I actually had to go back to a journal because I knew who the Mirandas were. Growing up in Cotula, I knew they were boxers. I did not know who Charlie was. I knew Victor, which was your Uncle Victor. Victor was, I think, a year older than me. Then Victor had a cousin named Tony that passed away too. Tony was going out with one of my best friends, and that's how I knew.
Need some water, mom?
I'm fine. The little crowd. My best friend lived right across from my house, which is where you live, right here down the road, and she was dating one of Charlie's cousins that would come from Illinois. They're all boxers. They were all boxers. So I knew Victor.
You met dad. He was already a boxer. He was already boxing.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. It's funny because I knew him, but I didn't know his physical. I just knew his name. I knew the Miranda brothers. I knew Victor, Wala, Charlie. People would talk about them all the time. They would have fundraisers at like cake sales, plate sales, and stuff to support their travel trips to go to wherever they were boxing. So I knew who they were. I just never knew who Charlie was. I knew Victor. I knew their reputation.
Yeah.
My friends were dating them, so I knew I didn't date anybody.
Victor's what, 2-3 years from dad?
I'm 51, so I'm assuming Victor's like 53, 54, okay, somewhere around there. So Victor was like a year older than me, 2 years older than me, so I knew who he was. I knew Tony was a year older than me too. So Tony and Victor, all of them, they were cousins, so they got around. Long story short, my best friend was dating Healy. That's your dad's friend, and he's up in Illinois or somewhere like that. He was a boxer. And Healy mentioned to my friend Melissa, sorry Melissa, that that Charlie wanted to meet me, and I didn't know who Charlie was. And so it so happened that I would tell my mom, I'm going to Melissa. Melissa would tell her mom she's coming to me, and honestly, we were out doing things. So anyways, I met Charlie right here at where Mary Lou Maldonado used to live, because I think the trailer's there by itself. Yeah, right here. There used to be a little brick house. I met your dad there for the first time, and when I met him, Healy had something to do with it. I introduced myself, and he's like, oh, it's funny because when I saw him there, I had already seen him, but I didn't know who he was. See, his best friend was Sammy Santos.
Yes, he still lives
around there. So your dad would walk. Your dad would live a block away from us. So your dad would walk by here back and forth. That's what he said. But this particular day, I was playing basketball with my little brother outside and trying to keep him occupied, because bored. And this guy just passed by, and I remember because I was playing kickball with my brother in basketball and stuff. And I turned and I saw him, and he saw me. We kind of eyed each other. And I was like, who's that? Later on, he told me, he said the same thing. Who's the girl that lives in the corner at that house? And that's how he found out with Healy. That's Melissa's friend. So that's how we met.
And your maiden name is Priscilla
Garcia.
So you're I mean, obviously when they told him who you were, they mentioned Priscilla Garcia. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that you're Priscilla Garcia.
And so that's how we met. We met that one night, and of course I was all like, oh my God. He was like, I want to take you out and this and that. And I was kind of like, no, I got a quinceañera coming. And my friends were more active than I was. And I was like, no. So happened that el 16 de septiembre, the year before, they all came down, and Tony wanted to date my friend, and they wanted a triple date or whatever. And supposedly my friend Melissa was supposed to date their other cousin that came from up north, and he had a van. ¿Se apagó?
No, go, yeah, it's just right there.
Well, then they wanted to do a triple date, like all three of us, and I was like, so I said, okay, I'm gonna go because it was the 16 de September. We used to celebrate fiestas at the plaza. So I said, I'm gonna go, but I ain't doing nothing because I was like real green,
Yeah.
like green.
Yeah.
So we all went and we ended up driving around, and I was so nervous because your dad was, their reputation was the Miranda boys could get any girl they wanted, and I was like, what is this guy looking at me, you know? So anyways, we ended up parking under the bridge over there by the KOA. Everybody spread out. Some stayed in the van. One set got out. Me and your dad ended up going to the, we're underneath the bridge where you can sit on the slab, and we were just sitting and talking, and that's how, that was our first date. Something happened, and that's when I came home, and I was kind of like, whoa, this is where it starts. Wow, this Miranda.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like I said, it was my first
Awesome.
innocent
You
relationship.
never forget that, huh?
No. No, because I remember he used to say that he saw fireworks.
I remember that. I remember that.
I don't know if it was just a cheesy line or
Yeah,
what.
no, no, he would always say that to you about your mom. So, the next question I want to ask you is obviously Dad's not here. You know, just a little reminder, guys. We're gonna have a day here where me and my family, the four of us, if I can get my little brother, he's kind of camera shy, doesn't really want to get involved. Want to talk about the day, July 14, 2009, uh, when everything changed. You know, I think that could help out the heart and a lot of people that need to know. You know, like you lose a family member, you lose someone close to you, man. It's not the end. You know what I'm saying? And look at us now, 13 years, and don't get me wrong, man. We miss our dad. We talk about him all the time, and my mom respects, you know, because out of the respect because she's remarried, and you know, and the good thing is my stepdad Gilbert, he understands what's going on, like what the situation is, and he doesn't mind us talking about him, and you know, and it takes a real man to do something
I
like
think
that,
that's what
man.
he told y'all though when
Yeah.
we met, that he
Yes.
loved that about y'all, that y'all never forget where y'all come from, what
Yeah.
y'all got from him, and he always said don't ever be afraid to speak of
Yes.
him.
And he
And
told me that, and to this day, he doesn't mind. We watch videos, and I show him my dad, and he's like, "Hey, your dad was real good." And it's just, you know, it takes a real man to actually, you know, live up to that, man. So, um, but again, you know, with dad passing away, before dad passed away, how was your relationship with my dad? That's my next
before he
question.
passed away,
Yeah. Well, up until he passed away, like, how
yeah,
was your relationship with
your
him?
dad and I had I met your dad when I was 13, going on 14, and I got pregnant, and we ended up getting married. Dad was we were in a really rocky relationship at the beginning, and coming from a an environment myself where I saw my dad, you know, abuse my mom and stuff like that. I always told myself I would never marry somebody like that, and it was hard because that's why I always tell you, mijo, you have a daughter, and you have to be an example because that's your first love. You're her first love, and you have to be an example for her because we grow up as women and we kind of look for our fathers in the person that we're
Yes.
gonna end up marrying. So I ended up finding a person that I didn't realize that to me that was normal. The life that I was living was normal. To be jealous and insecure, and we had a real rocky one, real hard one. But I had made a pact that I said to myself that y'all were getting to the point where y'all getting older, and I didn't want y'all to have to see the abuse and see all the mental stuff that was going on. There's a lot of stuff that I went through. I still carry scars, you know, and I don't like to talk about it too much because that was the old Charlie, the Charlie that I got to know, and God gave me the opportunity to meet towards the end was a totally different Charlie. People that say people won't change, once an abuser, always an abuser, once a cheater, always a cheater. Your dad was living proof that people do change, and the people that the only the only reason why a person changes is because God steps in. When your father went to an Acts retreat and came back a totally different man, he was on fire for God, and it was like I fell in love all over again. It was he was it's a battle that you fight because it's a demon that you're fighting. It was passed down to him, and he fought it every day. You know, the jealousy, the insecurities, it's something that he battled every day, but I could see towards the end that he was already trying to fix it. He was trying to, he tried real hard to fix it. Um, we got to explore life like in a totally different way once we became Christians, and I mean Catholic Christians. We were gonna serve as team ministers, team leaders at a retreat, and we were supposed to be going to a night to remember in Corpus in November, and your dad passed in July. We were Eucharist ministers at our Catholic church. Dad pushed us to do Bible readings at night. He would make us go to church every Sunday. Um, when he came back from that retreat, he was on fire, and that's the person that he became, and that I remember now more. That gives me the confirmation that I know where he's at, and my story is a long story. A lot of people know me here. A lot of people knew us. A lot of people got to see the bad side of your dad, but God gave us the opportunity to see the good one too, and you can change. You can change. I don't care what anybody tells you. Once a cheater was a cheater, or he's never going to change. That's not true. Your dad is living proof that you can change. You change because you know, and because this one, that the Almighty changes you. He comes into your life and he changes your whole perspective in life. It's like everything falls into place. Um, but the sad part is, I don't understand sometimes when it was good, it was taken away from me. Just when it got good, just when it got perfect, we were so in love. We had so many hopes and dreams, and we would sit up and talk for hours about what our future was going to be. And then God decided that was his time. I was upset. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I was mad at the world. I was mad at God. I was mad at the machines. I was mad at everything. I was mad at everything I could possibly be mad at, because I couldn't believe that it was so good and it was taken away from me. And not once, but twice. I lost my father and my husband. But your dad, towards the end, was all I ever wanted in a man. He became all I ever wanted in a man. And y'all got to see him. And because of that, y'all are right in the right track with God. Y'all know where he's at. And that's why we have to get there one day. And we got to live right, because that's what he told me.
Awesome. Piggyback off what my mom was saying on my previous podcast before this one, which y'all gonna see here on Sunday. I talked about my dad being the abuser, the alcoholic, and but like she said, man, when he came back from that retreat, he was different, man. My dad went from men don't kiss boys. Men don't
They
kiss
don't
each other.
cry.
They don't cry, and that's why like I said, when he was always drunk, he'd come in and he'd abuse me. Not abuse me, but he would kind of be rough on me, and I used to hate it because like my mom said, men don't cry, men don't kiss men like that, because I was his son and he would never kiss me. When he came back from that retreat back in 2004, I'm mistaken, right?
2004.
Four or five. Well,
No, it's
because
5 because you
I was
graduated.
about to graduate. He was outside waiting for me, and I never forget. He came in and greeted me, and he came and hugged me, and he said, "Come here," and he gave me a kiss on my lips, and I said, "Whoa," and he goes, don't you?" He said, "Don't you be ashamed. I'm your dad, boy, and I love you." And he kissed me, and like I said, man, I heard my story over and over again, and I said, man, I didn't really talk too good about it. I didn't have a lot of time. I'm gonna do a continuation, but my dad after that retreat, God changed. Like you said, God changed him, and like you said, it's crazy because the way you said it right now, mom, was the exact same way. I feared my dad. I didn't. I literally wanted Walla to be my dad, my Theo Lupe to be my dad, but that went from that man to being the man that I dreamed about. The man that I was like, you're perfect. You're the perfect dad. You're the best dad I could. And that's what God does to you. And if you put God first,
You forget about all the.
yes,
You know that none of the past matters, but the present.
yes,
And what's so weird is that this thing that happened to us, this tragedy that happened to us, this change in our lives that happened to us, you either take it as a lesson, but you always push forward. And how I see it is, how else would you know the difference between good and bad?
Yes.
How else do you know how to value when you have something good if you
Yes.
had something bad first?
Yep.
So, seeing the change in your father, people would probably see him and say, I don't see a difference. Because dad was always laughing, making jokes, doing, stuff like that. But behind closed doors was a different story. And so, for me, getting to know the Charlie that he was before he passed was the one that I went like, how would I have known the difference if I wouldn't have had the bad one?
Yeah.
And you don't want the bad one,
Yeah.
but you would know the difference between valuing what you have in front of you.
It's
And
like God has a plan for the whole thing.
it's a purpose for everything,
Yeah.
mijo, for everything. And your dad had these demons that he would fight with, the insecurities, the jealousies. Guys, I wasn't allowed to wear sleeveless shirts. I wasn't allowed to wear a lot of makeup. I wasn't allowed to get ice cream cones. It's a story, it's behind the story with all this stuff. But your dad was very, very strict, very, very hard on me, very, very hard on me. And it didn't really matter because after everything that happened, he left me here. He left me here not because he wanted to, but because that was his time. But at the same time, he left me here, and it made me who I am today. Like, I am free to do the things that I've never done before, but out of respect and what I've been taught, I don't do it. When your dad passed, I had the opportunities to go out and do things. I had the means to go do things, but I didn't. My focus was on you guys, promising you guys to get y'all something, a better life, getting you a better home. Um, and the only way I was going to do it was keeping myself focused and grounded. After he passed, I mean, the weeks after he passed, I didn't want to be here. But you guys walked in there and told me, we need you.
We're gonna go in depth on
Yeah.
that one that day pretty soon, and I want to let it all out for about an hour or so, whatever we gotta do. We'll catch on that another day. But let me tell you, to here talking to you is, you could have did all that, mom. You could have did all that bad stuff and whatever you were free to do, but you you were unselfish about it, and you made me proud to call you mom. When I can talk to people and be like, that's my mom right there. And I'm proud of you for the woman that you became. My brothers always tell me, man, you've seen Isaiah's podcast. Isaiah's like, man, mom's the queen. Like, yes, we've met our wives, and you always push it on us. That's your queen. Like, it's like you don't want to be the queen no more. And I'm like, no, you're the one that we first fell in love with. You showed us what a real woman needs to be like. And I take my hat off to you, mom, for everything that you've been through.
Well, as a
Everything.
parent, you're a parent now.
Yes, ma'am.
You want your kids to find their queen.
I do.
Because when I leave this world, which God has already proven to me that we're not promised
Guaranteed
for
tomorrow.
tomorrow, I can honestly say they're going to be all right.
Yes.
Your wife, Nicolette, I brag about her all the time. She's I love her to death. I give her credit because she's had her story, and she's giving me my grandkids. And the battles that she battles sometimes remind me of me. And I take my hats off to them. And Gottie's my new granddaughter, and like I said, she's a survivor, not a victim, survivor.
She's also been through a lot herself
Yes,
too.
sir.
Losing her
But I
mom.
love my daughters. I don't have daughters. I have my first granddaughter, and I'm waiting for her to get a little bit older so we can start doing things together. But she's a little bit more advanced than me. She kind of leaves me behind.
Yeah. Well, like I said, guys, this is Chale's Legacy Podcast. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I still got a little bit more, but I just wanted to let y'all know. Subscribe, like the button, like whatever you gotta do, man. Just let us know. Give us feedback. Again, this is my mom, Priscilla Miranda Ayala. She's just speaking the heart, man, and maybe somebody's going through this or something, or you might not even care about this and you want to hear it. This is it. I mean, there's gonna be more. Don't worry, we got a lot more to talk about another day, or a little bit more here today. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a day where we're gonna sit down, me and my two brothers, my mom, and talk about July 14th, and we're gonna go back, and just live it again and leave it all out here, man. But you know, I got a couple more questions for you, mom. Since I'm already on that subject, I'm gonna keep it with that. What's your favorite memory of my dad? You and him.
Favorite memory?
Favorite memory. I mean, I know you have a lot of memories of my dad. Obviously, you were married for how long? 20,
23
24,
years,
23?
going on 24 years.
Just
Man,
one
I
in
had
particular that hits comes to your mind. I didn't prepare you with any of these questions because I wanted you to speak out of the heart and
there was
just.
so many though. I mean, it's just favorite memory of your father. Um,
Just anyone that comes to mind, you know.
as you know, your dad was a boxer, and your dad would get drunk after a boxing fight because he was fasting and training,
Training.
so he couldn't drink and stuff. So there's this one fight that we fought in Dennis Allen,
And it's,
1995, June of 1995. Um, he put a whooping at Virgil Hills. Sorry, I can go on and on about boxing,
yeah.
but anyways, I remember that night we had the whole family there at the hotel on top of the casino.
Four Bells Casino.
Yeah, and your dad, we were going crazy because we had a video camera,
Oh, yes.
and your dad got so wasted. The next day, I woke up to videos of your dad, and he was over here singing, "Yo, yo, I'm not Rem DMC, I'm not El Cool J," and he was,
Yeah.
oh my God, those were the memories that I can't forget because I remember I said, "You were wasted, dude."
We
And-
have some of those. That,
yeah, and I remember telling him, "What else did you do?" Because he was like, "I don't know, I was wasted." Your dad was just. I think that was the first time that we ever experienced being in a place where we're the minority and feeling so welcome there. Like
Yes.
they treated us like royalty there at that place. And I remember he would say, "Get my wife this and get my wife that." And that day was it's something I can't remember. I can't forget because that was the day for the first time, I felt like a queen there. Like, wow, they're treating, and your dad was making sure that I was getting treated like that.
Not to I'm gonna piggyback off that. I remember specifically that fight. That this woman, okay, in case you don't know, if you don't follow boxing, she's married to a boxer. Her kids are all boxers, pretty much. That fight, my dad fought Dennis Allen. He's 14-0, and mine not. We went to his hometown. I remember seeing him fight before when my dad had fought another opponent about a year before, and that dude knocked that guy out in seconds.
Oh, he was real popular there. He was like,
That he press stop, please. Close. And I remember I was like, Dad, I'll fight that guy. He's pretty good, and then I'm gonna
was
beat
younger
him.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, my dad ended up beating him. Virgil Hill, he's an Olympic medalist. He fought Roy Jones Jr. He was representing Dennis Allen.
training him, I think, or something.
And my dad, long story short, my dad beat Dennis unanimously, 8 count, hurt him, everything. Well, this one goes up to say the story. I don't know.
Virgil Hill. Well, because Dennis was being real cocky. Like, he would be like, "Oh, I'm going to put this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And your dad was the underdog.
Yeah.
So so we're waiting for them to come out of the dressing room and everything. And I didn't know who Virgil Hill was.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't know who he was. So I'm sitting there and I'm going to everybody like, "Yeah, where's this cockiness now, huh? And this and this and that." And so Virgil's sitting right next to me, and he just goes, "Excuse me, ma'am. And who are you?" And I said, "I'm his wife. I'm Charlie's wife." And this and that. And I start telling Virgil off, and he goes, "Well, I'm the trainer." And then Charlie comes out, and I'm still at it with Virgil. And your dad goes, "Hey, that's Virgil Hill. Do you know who that is?" I said,
I don't
"No,
care.
I don't care who he is. He's being cocky and this and that." And I remember your dad said, "Oh, he is. You got to learn to be quiet." I said, "No, who is he?" And then when they told me who he was, I was so embarrassed because I was like, "Híjole, I overdid it."
Give me a second, guys. This is the first time I have technical difficulties. I'm gonna go and take these off. I'm gonna go and check with my things in and I'm gonna go ahead and plug it so we can have battery here.
Oh, it's going out of that.
Yeah, my kids use it. I got kids and they always put it down. We have to speak a little louder.
Okay.
So we already hear when I get the room. My kids are always on Coco Melon and
That's it.
everything like that. So let's just talk a little louder. I ain't got that much more for you, but how is it to be the wife and the mother of boxers? Yeah, me and my brothers never really got to that elite level, but you've been in seeing me fight in the Golden Glove, seeing Isaiah fight. And I just never really fought, but he's always been around a little bit. My dad, when he would fight, how is it to be that wife or the mother?
I was
of a boxer?
14 years old when I met your dad, and I came into the environment of boxers. And being in the boxing environment all my life since I met your dad was something I learned. And It's awesome. I don't think I'm the only one, but I'm sure there's more women out there that are into boxing. But I find myself literally seeing a boxing fight and knowing what's coming, knowing what a combination is. Oh, he's got body. Yeah. It's awesome to be able to talk to people about it, and that's one thing I like about my husband. I love about my new husband. He loves boxing, and I can honestly sit there and I'm going like I'm literally on the tip of the seat, go do a right jab, dude. Oh man, you got the upper body and this and that. And I'm texting because now we watch boxing when you're over here and I'm over there, and I'm texting y'all. What do y'all think? Yeah. He's gonna get him with the right hook. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. Being in an environment with boxing, to me, is awesome. I mean, but watching my kids in the boxing, your dad hurt me, but I had a lot of faith in his boxing ability because he was in there way before I ever came in the picture. But y'all, now when you and Isaiah came into the boxing, it was kind of like, I think I put a lot of pressure on you too because Isaiah came out to fight after his dad, and I was like, Chepa, you better not let him get hurt, Chepa. You better not let him get hurt.
That's a good reason why I stopped the fight too, Zay, so you can't blame me.
Yeah, I was fixing to take off some white rag or somebody's white underwear or something and throw it on the ring. I was like, he's bleeding. He's my baby. He's bleeding. But
I heard her, man. So
yeah, it's hard. I had a code. Every time my kids would fight, it would be green.
You
green,
hear it.
green.
If you watch any of our fights, you'll hear it. You hear a crazy lady in the crowd, green, green.
That means you got 10 seconds. You got to do it now. But I love boxing. I mean, it's crazy because sometimes I got to keep it in the low because a lot of my coworkers and people don't know boxing. So I'm kind of like, I'm the only one that talks about it. Like, hey, did y'all see the Canelo fight? Hey, did y'all see this fight? And really nobody does. So I'm like, the only ones that I talk to about it is you guys and my husband. But I love boxing.
I remember going to the house and go see the fights, and Mom was like, "Oh, youth is gonna win, and he's the underdog." And you're always a big about the underdog because that was the underdog.
Yeah, coming from Texas and going to fight up there, we were always the underdogs. But never underestimate the underdogs. So.
Tris, can you make sure that it's getting charged right now? Like just like the top, so not a little bit, just to make sure it's getting charged. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Got more. What are your goals in future? Goals for the future. What do you have?
I'm gonna be honest with you. You're asking me. Is that one of my last questions?
No, 2 more questions.
Okay. My goals in my future are I want to get old gracefully. I want to be able to say I live life to the fullest. There's a lot of things that I haven't done in life. I have never gone to Las Vegas on a cruise, trips, but I've done a lot with my life that I had never thought I would do back then. I'm a rancher's wife now, and there's always work to do at the ranch. I love animals. My goal is to continue to be a submissive person, a wife, a good mother, a great grandmother. My goal isn't about traveling, isn't about wasting money doing this and this and that. It's more of leaving a legacy and leaving memories for my family. When I leave this world, I want people to know who I was when they knew me. And at work, everybody knows that I'm the funny one, always making jokes. I'm blessing people here and right, but that's how I want people to know me. I want you guys to always say my mom was a good mom. I don't need to drive fancy cars and live in a mansion. I just want to live my life to the fullest in my capacity. What my heart wants, what my life wants to live like. If I want to live under a roof and I'm happy, then that's me. That's my life. That's me living the life that I want to live to the fullest. And that's my goal in life. Life is never going to be the same for me, but I'm dealing with it the best that I can with what God's given me. I'm blessed with 3 young men that love me to death, and your life changes when you have young men like I do. Your life changes. And back then I used to be more rough and tough and nevalia, what anybody thought. But I knew that at the end of the day, if I had an issue, I had one man at home that I could come to, and he would defend me to the bone. Now I have 3 that defend me, which are my 3 boys, and I have to think twice before I come and tell you guys, hey, Ulano said this to me. Ulano said that to me because if I know you guys, y'all are gonna go do exactly what your dad used to do. So life changes for me, but I live my life to the fullest as I can, and rest. I'm tired. I'm burned out sometimes, but my rest comes when I leave this world. That's how I see it.
And you've always been like that, huh? You've been working since when?
13.
13. I said it sometime. I know it was young. Obviously before you had me. But, yeah, no, you deserve it. You've been a hard worker and, you know.
Hey, you get to a point where you got to do it as long as you can. And I always tell people that I see, I say, hey, how you doing? And I say, I'm doing good, just working. And they're like, yeah, we got to work while we can. Because we're going to get to an age where we can't.
And another question I have for you is, talk to me about your husband, your current husband right now.
I'm married to Henry Gilbert Ayala, Sr.
Henry.
I love you, Dad. He's a rancher and a farmer. He's been working for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 30-something years. He retired and came back. So, one thing about my husband, that he's not perfect. He was divorced for 12 years. And I was a widow for a year and a half after I met him. Everything has a purpose, you know, and all of us have faults. None of us are perfect. I'm sorry, but I'm bilingual. I like to speak Spanish and English, so I mean, just,
most of the people watching this are probably gonna be.
Yeah, you know, living that environment with Gilbert being a rancher and a farmer. I love animals, like I told you, and the thing about me is that I'm a submissive person. I'm a very submissive wife. The Bible has taught me to be submissive to the perfect husband. Nobody's perfect, but when I know it's wrong, I stand my ground. When I know it's right, I have his back. I had your father's back, and I have his back. My thing as a wife now, for all you that have been through the situation that I've been through. When Charlie passed away, Charlie was my soulmate, and him passing away kind of makes you doubt if you want to be in that situation again. My husband was divorced, so I didn't know he didn't want to be in an environment where he was going to get divorced again. It hurts when you lose somebody you love. It hurts. So we were both in different kind of situations where he was divorcee and I was a widow. So we were broken. In other words, broken people. And God puts broken people together. And I don't know, but I have this cross at home that's made out of little broken pieces. And it's the most beautiful cross I have of all of the ones, because my room has a bunch of crosses. And that's one of the most beautiful crosses that I have. And I see my life like that. Because when you're broken, God puts you together and He makes something so beautiful out of it. And because of me meeting Gilbert, my Giovanni had a home. I love you, Giovanni. He's like my son. My son learned to querer hijos. I remember when you came in, you know, y me dijiste, ¿por qué me estás corriendo? ¿Por qué me estás? Y te dije, nunca vas a hacer una vida si estás aquí conmigo. Tienes que ser tu vida. Y me dije, ¿por cómo puedes quererlo como me quieres a mí? Y te dije, oh, mijo. Y ahora estamos en esas situaciones. Todo pasa por una razón. Y women and men that have lost their soulmates, we have a loving, forgiving God. He gave me confirmation of where their father is right now. And because of that, I'm not going to hurt my opportunity to get there one day. And God takes care of His own. You are given second chances in life, at love, at desires. Where you think your life stopped, God takes control and carries you and takes you to a level of amazement. I remember asking God, bring me somebody that's not going to be jealous, that's not going to be controlling, that's not going to treat me the way I lived before. Because I was so scared. I was so green at life. I wouldn't even ask my son for advice. And he brought me exactly what I asked for. Gilbert is not abusive. He's not jealous. He's not controlling. You know, he said the same thing. He asked God for a woman that would love his son, like if that was their own. He said a lot of things, and then he goes, I asked for a beautiful woman. I didn't think God was gonna give me one, and boom. So I'm very blessed with where I'm at with him. It's a totally different environment that I'm in with him than I was before, but it's a challenge, and I like it. And we've been married going on 10 years now, so coming up on 10 years, and Gilbert's been something that I'm very blessed with, and I know that I'm pretty sure we're gonna grow old together.
God wants it. But piggyback off that, I met Gilbert, of course, when my mom met him, and I met him at your house, the house you currently live in. I was painting I knew who he was because I went to school with Paco. Paco's a year older than me. And, we played ball together. He was my running back. And Gilbert came up to me and told me that he liked you, I think, at the time, or loved you one or two, and that he was going to get with you, be with you, and that I wasn't gonna have to worry about you, and that he's gonna take care of you, and that if ever I need to talk to about my dad, that he's there, or to bring him up whenever I want to, And Gilbert's been, like you said, it's a whole different. Like with Dad, he was abusive to you. I saw a lot of it. Gilbert's not like that, which is awesome. Like I appreciate he never crying because he's jealous or he hurt me or anything like that. I ain't gotta worry.
It kind of worries me sometimes.
Yeah, I can sleep and my mom I heard the ambulance. I'm not getting beat up. She's okay. I know that. So he's probably the last person that will hit you or touch you like that. But it's just he's a good man. We have our differences because obviously he's a whole different person from what I was raised seeing. I literally saw a man be. Not that my dad was like. My dad was very like I told you guys the other day. He was very possessive about what's his. My dad. One time at a baseball game, her cousin. I don't want to mention his name, but he was a young dude. Came and he hugged her like really really tight. Kind of picked her up, and like to my dad, he was old school. That was disrespectful. So my dad told that guy, "Don't you ever touch my wife like that again?" And that's just the way my pops was. I'm kind of like that because, that's my property. My wife Nicolette is my property, and nobody's gonna touch her like that the way only I am. But that's my way in life. I'm learning, and some people allow, some people don't. But yes, Gilbert is a great man. Like I said, we have difficulties. I never disrespect the man. I've never said anything to him. It's just he's different from the way Dad was, and it's taking some time for me to adjust. But as long as you're happy, Mom, and like I said, like Isaiah says it too, Elijah, we see you happy and that you're okay and you're not getting abused or
Your Gilbert is very different from your dad, but you can't compare them to. Second of all, is one thing that I'm going to say about Gilbert is he's a damn good provider. There is nothing that I don't want that he doesn't get. I'm just very simple. I'm not the type of person that's going to go ask him for a Mercedes or.
And I'm like, you're right, Hunter. That man, you need something. The gym, he helped me with it. But it's also we're so used to living like where we don't ask people like that. So if you don't ask him, he's not gonna do it. Because he doesn't know. But
I always tell him, call him, ask him.
I need help to get some part over there in San Antonio. Gilbert will literally take me because he's got a bunch of trailers. He'll take me in the trailer, fall asleep on the road most of the times, but then he'll come back and he'll get it done. If you ask him, he'll get it done. But it's just us. We're not used to that life.
That's the good thing about being married again is the fact that when me and him met, we came to an agreement that we both were broken, and that I had 3 boys and he had his kids, his children, and I always told him, let's give it a try, and we're gonna always respect our kids, first of all. Now, rule number 1 that we had, and if anybody, this worked for me and him. If there's something about my kids that you don't like, you tell me, and I'll take care of it. If there's something about your kids that I don't like, I'll tell you, and then you take care of it. But we don't tell our kids anything. Now, I have a very open relationship with some of his kids. Like I said, Giovanni's pretty much mine. He's my boyito. He was 12 years old when he came to live with me. So, I have an open relationship with their kids. Now, if they ask me something, I'll answer. If they involve me in the topic, I'm gonna respond. Same thing with my boys. I've always told them, You have a problem, you have an issue, you want to involve Gilbert, he's there. I'm never gonna deprive them of having a relationship with their stepfather. But you know, it's been an awesome journey. The first couple of years, me and Gilbert had our ups and downs, but that's you gotta adapt to the differences, you know. And I think we're there already to where we kind of know each other already. And just right now, before I came over here, I was helping him at the ranch, like 30-minute thing, and first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Mi vieja es una ranchera," you know. And I'm like, because I know how to you know, put a trailer on a truck and back up and do this and do that.
And just like out there, my mom. If you have anything bad to say about my mom, or whatever, I mean, she is, and always will be my queen. Yes, I'm married. I have another one, my wife, Nicolette. But my mom has been. I'm proud of you. You're the best mom that anybody could ever have. I know Isaiah feels the same way. I know your baby feels the same way. And, you know, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mom, because, you know, I have this podcast going, and maybe 10 years from now, 30 years from now, you know, like you always say, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You can look back and be like, hey, but I want you to know straight up, I take my hat off. And I am so proud of the woman. I remember crazy, like I don't remember like specifically, but I remember being a kid in the room in the back telling you I'm going to take care of you. And I remember growing up with you.
I remember that.
I remember all that. I remember that. And from the
and you would, if I were to come home and tell you, Chepa, I need you. I need this. I need that. I know I can always count on you guys. I know I can. As proud as you are of me, I am of you guys.
Yeah,
you know, I work in a bank. I talk to people on a daily basis. I'm a bookkeeper. So there's people that tell me, my gosh, you know, I saw your son Chepa. Mr. Garza would always talk about you. Isaiah.
Rest in peace.
My Elijah. I work with somebody that worked with Elijah, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's so shy. He's so different from me." Wow, yeah, they freak out because like I can't believe that's your son because you're so different from him. But I'm super proud of you guys too. Considering everything that we've gone through in life, we turned out okay. We turned out okay, and
you kept us in the right path, Mom. I mean, along with God.
It was hard. I don't give myself all the credit because I had somebody to raise you guys, you know, for 20-some years. And after that, it's hard to be a father and a mother. It's very hard. It's very hard because at the end of the day, like this podcast, it's going to bring memories. I'm talking about your dad, how we met and everything. But one day I'm not going to be here. I also have years of journals that I write every day. Almost every day, and those journals are in a safe place for when I leave. They're gonna know things.
We're gonna read them on here too. Hopefully, this thing's still going.
They're gonna know things that nobody knew. And the thing is with me is, like I said, I'm very blessed where I'm at right now. As much as y'all are proud of me, I'm very proud of my boys. My boys have, and not everybody's gonna be happy, Chepa. Not everybody's gonna be supportive. Not everybody's gonna have nice things to talk about us, and that's okay because you know what? We have each other. And all the stuff that we've learned in life, it's a lesson learned, and we're going to continue to bring it to our children, your babies.
And that's why we're doing this, guys, so that we can, one day, my Tristan gets older, and one day my girl, you know, like I said.
What did she look like? Oh, she was.
I wish that, I mean.
Not to mention that, this is the biggest I've ever been, okay? I gained a lot of weight, but it's because I'm happy.
I wish, you remember we used to talk daddy outside and be that, oh, I fought this and Paul Banky, and I give anything to have that story back. I'm starting to forget little by little, but you know, man, I hope our entertainment can be pleasant to you guys. You guys find it amusing how she talks about herself. My mom is the strongest woman I know. Along with my wife, my mom is just somebody that, she's my hero, man. Along with my dad, my mom's been through so much, and she's never strayed away from God. She's never abandoned us. Not to say anything against anybody out there, if anybody's done that, but, you know, my mom's always made sure that we have a home with her, anywhere she's at. And she never put us behind anybody. She's always been loving and supportive. And, you know, I think my mom deserves, you know, so much. And that's why, you know, when you say you're proud of her, don't discourage yourself, Mom, because, yes, that had a part in it, but you kept it going. And, you know, I want you to know.
I'm very proud of my boys too. I mean, life could have turned in a lot of different directions for me. There was a time that I really thought it was, and again, everything happens for a reason, and some things are not meant to be, and some things are, and like I said, for anybody that's in my situation, there's hope. There's hope. In the power of prayer, you want something for your children, you pray for them. The power of prayer of a praying parent is very powerful. I've always believed that. A family that prays together stays together. Pray with your families. Pray with your families. Me and my husband, we're pretty much loners. My youngest is always by himself in his room or whatever. But me and my husband pray together, and I've taught Gilbert to pray. I've taught him to lift his hands. We have shawls at home where we cover ourselves. I cover myself with prayer. I fast. Tell my kids all these things because one day I'm not going to be here, and I want them to be able to remember the things that helped me get to where I'm at today. Because, like I said, when my life changed, that July 14th, my life stood still for the second time in my life. First time I was 11 years old, I really didn't know much. My mom took the majority of the responsibility. But this second time that this happened to me, the two most important men in my life, it was kind of like, I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief that this happened to me again, and what do? You just get up and you keep pushing forward. Charlie didn't leave me stranded with no security. Charlie paid with his life, but he took care of us. And all this that my kids have, their gym, vehicles, everything they had was with their dad's life. And that's one thing that I will always forever carry that in my heart, because God still took care of us. He never left us. And God's never going to leave you either. If you're ever in this situation, your life might seem like it's over or dark. It's not. God's going to take care of you. If He did it for me, that I was 13, 14 years old with the love of my life, and then, my soulmate, and then to have to let go, and like Isaiah mentioned on his kryptonite, he was my superhero, and in a matter of minutes, it was done. And I had to put on his cape and put a superwoman on and be that for them, because they didn't have anybody else, and they still don't. To this day, I'm grateful to Jacob, Miranda, my brother-in-law. Never left my boy's side, and forever grateful in my heart. I will always carry that. All my nephews and nieces, your cousins, they all still call me Tia. I love them. I still Facebook them, to message them. Emma, my mother-in-law, I love her to death. I mean, I still see her. She calls me. I mean, me and her have this special bond, and it's just God puts you in places where you have to understand in your life that you're gonna get through it. Just stay firm in the Word of God and stay firm with God, and believe in the promise that if we believe in His Son Jesus Christ, we will see them again. We will see them again, and we will enter the kingdom of heaven. So we just have to remember that. Everybody that loses someone, I always tell them that. God gave us a promise.
That's what it is. Promises don't break. My last question, Mom, well, not even a question, is more of, what do you have left to say? If anybody's watching this, and you see yourself here in 30 years or whatever, I mean, long, what's something that you want to say to the people or to your grandbabies, to us? Like you said, we're not promised tomorrow. What's something
if you're watching this, then I'm gone.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, then I'm gone. Chepa, thank you for always being there for my boys, for your brothers. Thank you for being the best role model. Thank you for carrying your father's name and making it a good name, a proud name to be proud of. Now your son carries it. Thank you for being the definition of an amazing son. Isaiah, I love you to death. And don't you ever question my love for you. Me and you bump heads. I know. But at the end of the day, you will always be my milagro, my son. And I have done for you as much as I've done for all of them. And my Elijah, he's my baby. He won't leave my nest yet, but he will one day, at God's time. I love you to death, mijo. There's so many things that you have to work with yourself, but you'll get there. I believe in you and I have faith in you. Your father always said that you were going to be better than your brothers, but I believe you still can be. You just got to fix this inside.
I'm gonna say something real quick though. Dad said that to you and Isaiah. But it sure wasn't for athletics because I beat all of y'all. I know I did. Maybe something else.
I think he was just trying to raise the bar high.
Maybe something else. But I made sure I set that standard
high. It's
high.
hard to compete against you, dude. You have it all.
I made sure I hate losing. So, but you might have been better at some video game, something. I don't know, but not sports. I got you guys. Both of y'all are underneath me.
DJ, Tristan, Grandma loves you to death, babies. You were the first gifts that God gave me. Continue to do good in life. Push forward, make your mom and dad proud. And never look back. Just look forward. Push forward. Camila, my only granddaughter right now. I love you, mommy. There's so many things I want to do with you. But this COVID puts me in a limit to, I don't want to expose you to anything. But I believe that you're going to be a true princess one day and somebody's queen too. And my baby Carlitos. Grandma loves you, Tatis. There's a little sparkle in you that I see that you're going to give Daddy a hard time. But you know what? Daddy's going to be on top of it. Grandma loves you. Never forget that. And my new one, Isaiah. Spitting image of your dad. He's already stubborn. He does his little fist, and he's only 2 months old. I don't know about the pandemic babies, but I think that he's something else. I'm looking forward to seeing him grow. But I have a feeling that these boys are going to end up coming into the boxing life too. I pray to God that God gives me the opportunity to see you guys grow up and experience all that too. I want to say something very important to somebody that I really never acknowledged throughout this podcast. It's my mother. Mom, Chavela, Isabel Jimenez. I love you. I know where I'm. Oh no. My mom's 74 years old and she's the strongest woman I know. That's why I am who I am today. Because I see that woman work, clean, babysit, do it all. It doesn't stop. Some people at 74 are passing away. My mom's 74 and she's still going. That inspires me. My mom had a heart attack last year and I almost lost her. Me and my mom didn't have a real good relationship because I left the house when I was 15. But now that I have her, I don't want her to ever think that I don't love her or that I ever didn't love her. If I leave before she does, I want her to know how much I love her. And that I think about her every day, and every day I pray for her. I ask God to give me many, many more years with her. Right now, my baby sister, I love you. And I know you're going through some changes in your life right now. But God brought you somebody that's going to take care of you. A real man. A real man that will take care of you and your babies. And my sister Anna, I love you. You've always been the strong one in the family. I admire that about you. My nephew, Zaina, Derek, Liam, Ella, my brother Jesse. Me and Jesse don't get along, but at the end of the day, you're my brother. And I love you. But my friends at work, I've already told you guys if I ever leave this world, what I want. Puro Reese's Kisses and Reese's Candy. Scarlett, Gina, Hillary, Mr. Northcutt, Mr. Gates, Frank, all my good coworkers that I've worked with throughout the years, Noelia, Diana Gonzalez, all my coworkers that taught me where I'm at, what I'm doing right now. Roy, may you rest in peace, my Roy. He's my best friend. Arturo. Along the years, I've learned to meet a lot of people. People have gotten to know who I am, and my personality. Not a lot of them like me, and that's okay. You have your opinions about us. You have your opinions about me. Again, I want to clarify this to you guys. I'm not a victim. Don't ever think when I'm telling you my life or telling somebody my life story, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. I survived this. Not once, but twice. And I'm okay. I saw something that not a lot of you could cope with. And I dealt with it for the past 13 years. I don't ask anybody for anything. I work for what I have. What I do have, it's saved, because when I get to that point where I can't take care of myself, they can use that to take care of me. A lot of people say, what are you driving? Look what you're driving. Look where you live and all this. Hey, I'm content. If you only knew the environment I used to live before, you would understand that I live in a mansion right now compared to where I used to live. The boys know. We used to eat canned beans and stuff from the pantry. I mean, it's a blessing to eat a steak now, you know. But I love everybody. People that have been in my situation, don't give up. Push forward. And like I said, God takes care of his own. Pray about it. God will answer you. You just gotta believe with all your heart. Besitos to everybody.
Besitos. All right, guys. July 27th, 2022 is today. This is Chale's Legacy Podcast, episode number 5. We will do a continuation of my mom. There's a couple more questions that I need to ask, and sorry about the whole technical difficulties. Cammy using my iPad and baby, and
It's okay.
it wears out.
Maybe it's something that wasn't supposed to come out.
But like I said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a part of my mom's life. There's still so much more about the days that we were born.
Oh, we have so many things. The day this one was born, man, guys. And I'm funny. I'm a funny person. Really, yeah. Sometimes the boys get mad at me because I say things.
We call her the bad lucker. Why we call you bad lucker, Mom?
Because every time I would watch the Cowboys, they'd lose.
Yeah, so it's your fault.
So they would tell me, "Don't watch it,
They
Mom.
haven't
Don't
won
watch
in
it."
over 26
But
years.
I wanted to watch it. I couldn't watch it. Or they'll call me all of a sudden, "Are you watching it?" Man, I just sat down to watch it for like 10, 15 minutes.
My dad was like that. It's funny, man.
I gave up on that, but
I hope this stays for years, and I really hope that one day, we can grow old and laugh at this. But like I said, today, July 27, 2022, this is Chale's Legacy Podcast, and this is episode 5. Any last thing you want to say?
no, just
We're going to do
stay
another
tuned.
one.
Share.
Like the button down here. Wait, where we at? Down here? Somewhere down here. Anywhere. Subscribe. We're going to do a continuation. We're going to get it going, talk about all that. Whatever else is left.
I told him, I think we want to get his grandma Emma in here.
Yes.
She has a lot of memories of the Miranda brothers. Again, like I said, the Miranda brothers, the Miranda boys, the Miranda men, they were well known here in Cachula. There's a lot of things that Charlie would tell me, but I really don't have the memories.
Yes, and that's why I want to keep it. This.
Yeah.
My Theo Victor said he was down. Frankie called me that he's down. I talked to Norma. She said Walla would be down, and I want to get Jacob back in here again. Of course, this is so much I want to do. I talked to some people. Steven Villanueva, Jose Rodriguez want to get involved, and we'll see what happens, guys. But
it will only keep going more and more if you guys like it. Subscribe. If not, like Chepa said, if you don't like it or something, then there's gonna be some episodes that you have your ifs and buts about it. But
if you're watching this whole hour and 14 minutes, then you must be interested in something. So give me a like, or if you do not have anything positive to say, just scroll, man.
Or else.
Yeah, just scroll, man. But again, hope y'all enjoyed it.
Love y'all.
We'll see y'all soon. Let it go ahead and turn it off.
Peace be with y'all.